Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome to a new progress ramble on my main account. Been a while since the last one. A lot of things have happened, a lot of things have changed, so I figured it was a good time to spend a good 20-30 minutes in front of the microphone talking about random shit. So I believe I last left off on the progress rambles as a rune crafter doing lavas, and I haven't done lavas in a fair amount of time now, but I did manage to reach 88 mil runecraft XP, so that's where I've been sitting for a while. I think it was shortly after Double Death Runes came out that I stopped doing runecrafting. I guess when Double Deaths did come out, I decided to do them a little bit just to give it a try because they were really good GP per hour when they first came out. Deaths were like 350 each or so, and now they're complete trash. They're like the same price as Nats used to be, and Nats are even worse. But yeah, they were good for like a week before they crashed like crazy. And I think just having that slight break from doing lavas completely broke the momentum of lavas, and I just had no desire to go back to lavas after I'd stopped. I think that was the reason that that it happened then, really, and not like sooner or later. I did runecrafting for pretty much 6 months straight from December until May. And I guess that's a pretty much the same amount of time that I spent doing mining, but I was playing fewer hours during that time because I was pretty busy with college and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. I just could never really find the same kind of motivation with runecrafting that I found with mining. It's just something about it isn't, well, obviously it's quite a different skill to train, but I don't know. It's just, I haven't found it as easy as I would have liked to rekindle that motivation that I had with mining for any other skills since then. So I've just been skill hopping basically, rather than really trying to dedicate myself to one skill. I've just been going around to different skills whenever I kind of feel like it, and not really dedicating myself to a single grind. And I've found that kind of enjoyable. I mean, I've gone through phases of skill hopping and doing one skill at a time for years, so it's not really anything particularly new, but it's kind of nice to just play on a whim and do whatever skill I most feel like doing, or whatever else I most feel like doing, rather than forcing myself into a single activity for months on end. I can find that enjoyable, but it just depends. You have to have a lot of motivation and a lot of desire for the goal to really want to do that. And so far, I just don't have any particular skill that I have that much motivation for. So since I stopped runecrafting, it's been a little bit over a month, I think it is, and I've been doing various skills. I did fishing for, I think, like a couple weeks, almost 50 mil fishing XP now, up from like 30 mil, so made some pretty nice progress there. And I think that in the long run, fishing might be the skill that I go for 200 mil in next, because it's just really enjoyable skill and really, really similar to mining, and I found it really easy to kind of fall into the fishing grind. It was quite comfortable and felt very natural, where it hasn't so much with many other skills. So I can definitely see myself doing 200 mil fishing in the future. But the reason that I stopped fishing after only a couple of weeks is because I've had money on my mind a bit. I have been training farming for a couple years now, and I do want to finish that 200 mil. I'm currently at 121 mil farming XP, and farming is expensive, and it has become incredibly more expensive than it ever used to be. Ever since the Zulrah nerf, it's basically gone up in price by about 50%. So suddenly 200 mil farming is going to cost me, even from here, another like 300 or 400 mil on top of what I was expecting a few months ago. So I kind of have to make up that money now. And so I've been kind of trying to get myself into doing skills where I can make that money and make it not feel too stressful, and just have it kind of come naturally. I've pretty much always hated making money in this game because it always just is kind of stressful, and prices are always changing, and it's just, I don't know, it's not relaxing at all usually to be worrying about money. And that's kind of still the case, but the way to combat that, I've found, is to just make it so it doesn't feel like you're making money and feels like you're just training skills or whatever, and have the money be as passive as it possibly can be. So that's kind of what I've been doing since then. I've been doing Hunter on and off, and I've gained like 13 mil Hunter XP in the past month or so, just doing it here and there. So Hunter is a pretty nice source of money, and I started doing a bit of Slayer recently, since through Serb Slayer I can make some pretty nice profit as well. Yeah, I don't know, when I was doing Hunter I kind of just had a random motivation to do some Slayer, and so that's what led me to go for this thing right here, the Infernal Cape, which is not something I really expected I'd be going for anytime soon. It was quite a challenge and it was quite an interesting experience. But yeah, I felt like doing some Slayer and I wasn't going to do Slayer without max gear, so I decided to do some Inferno attempts. I was originally not planning to go for Infernal Cape anytime soon since I wasn't planning to do Slayer anytime soon, and it's pretty expensive to go for it and you need a lot of really expensive gear as well. But yeah, once I had that little bit of motivation to do Slayer, I decided to just go for it. I had watched tons of the Inferno streams from people like Wooks, and it looked really interesting, and I was, fairly familiar with the mechanics just from spending so much time watching it. And there was definitely a small part of me that whole time that was itching to give it a try myself and see if I was up to the challenge. So yeah, I don't have the bank to afford all of the best in slot gear like Twisted Bow and Ellie and that kind of stuff, but I was able to borrow some of it off of a friend in Hexus named One-Eyed Owl, so big thanks to him for lending me that gear. I did still shell out a fair amount of my own money to buy Rigor and Augury, and I spent like 50 mil just on supplies. Like I spent 25 mil on Dragon Darts alone. The supply costs there are very expensive if you're really trying to use the max gear, and I wasn't really trying to limit myself too much because even with max gear it's pretty hard. I did try for the first like 3 or 4 days to do it without Rigor because Rigor is like 65 mil and I really don't expect I'll be doing much ranging at all in the future. The only thing I would really use it for is chinning, and I don't think I would do any chinning before 200 mil Slayer, which is something I don't think I'll ever really get. I don't really have any desire to do any more PVMing outside of Cerberus, and Cerberus is actually good for like profit and XP, and you don't really use range for Slayer if you're doing it efficiently. But yeah, I don't know, I was definitely felt like I was lacking DPS on Inferno attempts without Rigor, and it was hard enough as it was, so I decided to just go ahead and buy it. So doing Inferno attempts probably wasn't the smartest idea if I'm trying to save money to pay for farming, but yeah, I just wanted to have the Infernal Cape and I really wanted to give it a try, and I will say that Inferno was really fun and I'm definitely glad that I did it. It's definitely a true challenge that really tests your mechanical skill, your game knowledge, your patience, and your bank as well. And I think that the devs did a really great job on it really feels like up-to-date version of the Fight Caves. Like it's up to modern standards of challenge with how far the community has come and how far, best in slot gear has come since the Fight Caves came out. I can probably show a little bit of footage of me killing the final boss, but if you want to watch the full boss fight, I do have that uploaded on my second channel. I can link that in the description. Unfortunately, I didn't record the entire run because it was like 2 hours long, and I just didn't want to have all those massive files on my hard drive. I did stream it for a while, but unfortunately I wasn't streaming it like all of the time that I was doing it, and I got it when I was off stream, which I'm a little bit bummed about, but I at least recorded the boss fight, so if you guys are curious about that. I tanked one boss hit, but other than that it was a pretty good run. So yeah, it was a good time. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm glad that I have overcome that challenge. It's hard for me to resist a good challenge in this game, I guess you could say that. So fortunately for me, since I got the Infernal Cape, I've gotten pretty lucky at Cerberus, and I've been doing a lot of tasks. I think I've done about 600 or 700 kills so far since I got it, and I've gotten 3 primordial crystals, so my primordial luck is turning back around because I only had 6 before, so now I have 9 primordials total in 5300 KC, so still a little bit below drop rate since they're 1 in 512, but pretty close. And I also finally got the Hell Puppy pet at 4951 KC, so that's pretty cool. The drop rate of that is 1 in 3000, so a bit below or a bit above the drop rate on that, but I don't really care that much about pets anymore. I'm just doing Cerberus for the sake of the money, but having the pet is always a nice little benefit. So I think I have 13 pets in total now, which is pretty cool. And if I continue doing more Hunter, that's another pet that I don't have, so I might bring that count up to 14 pretty soon as well. So yeah, my main sources of money right now my plan for sources of money right now is Hunter and Slayer, whichever I feel like doing more at any given time. They're both pretty nice GP per hour overall, the way I'm doing them, though doing Cerb Slayer isn't quite as, EHP efficient as doing Hunter is, since Hunter at its most efficient rate is profitable, whereas Cerb Slayer I am sacrificing some efficiency for the sake of profit. But yeah, here's the Hell Puppy, and here's all my other pets walking around in my PUH. Looking pretty nice. I guess I can show the pet list here for anyone curious. got a fair amount of the skilling pets, and I'd like to eventually get more of them. I'm probably going to get the Chinchompa pet relatively soon, since I plan to do more hunter, and maybe someday I'll get the farming pet. I don't know. I think I'm like 50 to 60 mil XP dry of the farming pet, since I've been doing runs since it came out and haven't gotten it, but it's really rare from trees, so I don't even know if I'm at the drop rate of it yet. And agility and thieving are both skills I'd like to do more of as well, so those will probably happen eventually. And then if I got all those, I'd have all of these skilling pets, which would be cool. I've been keeping a spreadsheet of my Cerb kills every trip to see how many kills per trip I'm doing, and this last trip was 16 kills. That's pretty good. My average is about 12 kills per trip with this setup, and I'm using Dragon Dagger. I'm not using SGS, so I feel like I've gotten pretty good at Cerb, and I'm getting nice amounts of kills per trip and getting pretty fast kills as well. Seems like I'm getting about 40 kills per hour, which is pretty nice, and the profit is quite good, even with prims being kind of low in price compared to what they used to be. So that's pretty much what I've been up to lately, kind of just striking out in all directions of skilling and not really intending to dedicate myself too much to any individual activity as of now anyways, with the overarching goal currently of banking 200 mil farming and not having to worry about money anymore, because I don't really have any plans to train any other viable skills, at least not for many years to come, because I just don't enjoy viables and I don't enjoy making money. So after I'm done worrying about farming, I probably will just stick to the gathering skills and maybe like grid crafting and agility as well. I might finish 200 mil smithing sometime with Gold Wars. I don't think I would do rune smithing anymore because it's kind of shit, but I would like to do some blast furnace gold. It looks pretty fun, and it's not that expensive. I think it would only cost me like 200 mil GP to finish 200 mil smithing, so that's something else I'd probably spend my money on eventually. But outside of that and farming, I really don't see myself spending money on much of anything. I already have 200 mil rune crafting banked, and that's pretty cheap to do. And all the other skills that I want to train don't cost anything, so that's kind of how I like it. And as far as the IRL stuff is what's been going on with me outside of RS, I'm starting my new job in a week, or a little under a week. I will be working full-time as a software engineer. It's a 6-month internship position, so I'll have a lot less free time to play RS starting next week, but it should be a pretty interesting experience, and I'll be earning a nice amount of money, and I'm probably going to be moving soon as well into a place with my girlfriend, since she's working full-time as well right now and making a nice income, so we can afford to get a place together, and I won't have to have so many roommates and that kind of thing, which will be pretty cool. And I've also been doing some polyphasic sleeping, which I kind of was inspired to do again recently by AJ, who is the guy that I was racing to 200 mil mining back in the day. For those who don't know, polyphasic sleeping means breaking up your sleep into more than one like nap or whatever you want to call it per day, rather than just sleeping in one solid block at night or something. And the reason that some people do this is because it's generally the case that you can sleep fewer hours and still get enough rest if you break up your sleep into more naps rather than all in one block. There's probably still a lot of research to be done there, but I've read a lot of accounts from different people and like vlogs and blogs and stuff about it, and it seems generally to work and is a pretty cool way to, you know, take more control over your schedule and save time and just give yourself more waking hours to do all the things you want to do, which is definitely something that I aspire for, to get more time for RS and for other things, and really so that I can still put a lot of time into RS like I want to while having other responsibilities. So the schedule I've been doing for about a month now is I sleep for 3.5 hours at dusk, around like 9 p.m. these days, and I then get up in the early morning hours for a few hours, and then I go to bed again at around like 4:35 a.m. when it gets light out again. So I go to bed at dusk and I go to bed again at dawn, and I sleep for 3 hours in the morning. So it's a total of 6.5 hours of sleep a day, which is better than I was averaging beforehand. I kind of had a bad habit of just sleeping in, oversleeping, and wasting a lot of time, and I felt like I wanted to take more control over that and just give myself more time to do all the things that I want to do. So yeah, that schedule is called segmented sleep, and it was recommended to me by AJ. I've tried various other polyphasic schedules in the past, but have never really found one that was easy to stick with and also easy to maintain while having a sort of normal schedule. My schedule is pretty open right now, but once I start work, it will be a lot busier, of course. But I think that I can probably still maintain a schedule pretty similar to this, since I'm you know, going to bed in the evening and getting up in the morning still. So I think this one's kind of a winner for me. I know that AJ used this as a starting point, this schedule, into a more intense schedule, which I think he does like 3.5 hours at night, and then he only sleeps for maybe an hour and a half in the morning, and then I think a 20-minute nap during the day or something like that. So fewer hours and breaking it into more naps. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that because I don't know if I'll be able to take a nap like at work. Probably not, but I'll kind of have to feel it out. And also I'm not sure if I want to take things any further because I kind of enjoy this schedule and it seems to be working for me, and I'm still getting a reasonable amount of sleep. But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on with me IRL. I'll be working full time for the next 6 months, so I'll be pretty busy and not have quite as much time for RS. And then I'll be back to studying again at university for another couple years. I'll probably do another internship next year though, the same kind of time frame. Hey, I just got an Eternal Crystal, not too bad. Haven't seen one of those in a fair amount of time. I've gotten like 3 prims and 3 or 4 Pegasians in the last few tasks, but I haven't gotten any Eternals until now. So yeah, working full-time should be interesting. I've never worked like a full-time standard, you know, office type of job before, and I'm kind of interested to see how it compares and contrasts to studying, because working full-time, it's, you know, a lot of hours during the week, but then on the weekend when I get home and on the weekend, I don't really have to worry about work, or at least hopefully, whereas when I'm studying, you kind of always have the stress of assignments and projects and stuff on your mind, and there's no such thing as not working on the weekend really when you're studying. So it should be interesting. I'm kind of curious to see what it's like, but I will be finding that out pretty soon, and I will potentially make more videos talking about that if you guys are interested. But I think I've ran out of things to ramble about. Hopefully this video isn't too horribly long, and hopefully you guys enjoyed having something to listen to and my terribly exciting life and RuneScape adventures. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys all later.